हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल हारी द मरीनर। दोस्तों, हारी द मरीनर यूट्यूब चैनल में आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है। So, in this today's topic, we are going to discuss what is the boiler, types of boiler in just brief, what is the boiler and types of boiler, and the basic working principle of boiler, and the basic circuit diagram means the basic circuit working principle of boiler. Okay, we'll start. Everybody, we know that this is the boiler. What is this boiler? And what is this? This is the burner of boiler. So what is meaning of the boiler? We already discussed in the last video. The boiler is nothing enclosed container or enclosed the vessel that generate the steam. So how to generate the steam? By heating the water. Okay, that is called boiler. And this steam generated steam is transferred through the pipelines. Generated steam is transferred through the pipelines for the different purpose on board ship. So what are the purpose of the steam? Why we are need to generate the steam? To generate the steam because of to heat the HFO, heavy fuel oil, in the tanker vessel to maintain the cargo temperature requirement of the steam. Nowadays, gas steam turbines there to generate the power. That is the different use of the steam generated from the boiler. Okay, so there are two types of boiler normally: water tube boiler, water inside the tubes, so that is called water tube boiler, and fire tube boiler, fire inside the tubes, that is a fire tube boiler. Okay, that's just we take the brief description. Now we will discuss the basic component of boiler. This is the boiler. Okay, this you can see, this is the structure of boiler. So what is this whole part? This is the boiler burner. This is the boiler burner. Once your main engine speed will reduce, so we need to start the boiler burner to heat up the water. How to heat the water, how to start this burner, what are the components inside the burner, and working principle of burner we will discuss. So this is the burner, and burner part is most important is the FD fan. Okay, so before that, this is the flame generated by the burner. So to generate the flame or to generate the fire, what we required? First, we required the fuel. Second, we required the oxygen or air. And third, we required the heat or ignition. And three, all these three things means heat, oxygen, and fuel transfer through this burner, and then fire will takes place inside the boiler. So these are the components of burner. Who take the supply or oxygen? This is the FD fan, forced draft fan in the burner. Who take the fuel? Who supply the fuel? This is the fuel oil pump. And who supply the ignition? There is a small ignition burner, or this is called ignition. This is called pilot burner. Okay, that pilot burner will ignite the flame. So how the pilot burner will ignite the flame, how the main burner will start, and that we'll discuss in next. Okay, so this is the main burner. This is the component of main component, FD fan, fuel oil, and inside have ignition transformer, and one is the pilot burner. This is the damper to suck the air and to control the air pressure inside the boiler. This is the damper. Okay, so we already discussed what are the basic component of boiler. In here you can see that this is the main burner, this is the main HFO line, heavy fuel oil, and these two are the solenoid valve of main burner. Okay, and we introduce one small pilot burner. This is the pilot burner. First of all, pilot burner is fire. Okay, and this is the FD fan, force draft fan, and this is the HMI unit, human machine interface unit. So here we discuss the firing sequence of boiler. So what is the first sequence? That is the purging cycle, that is called pre-purging of the boiler. So how this cycle pre-purging is happening, you see here, this is the FD fan, forced draft fan initially started. So the a large amount of air will transfer through this air damper. Initially pre-purging time, this air damper is fully open. So whatever the flue gases inside the boiler, all these gases will escape from the boiler. So boiler is now ready to fire. It means that that is called pre-purging time. So how the pre-purging time, how much minute of the pre-purging time, that is 120 to 150 second, at least 2 minutes pre-purging time will happen. Okay, that is done by the FD fan. What is the next cycle? Ignition cycle. So who will make this ignition cycle? We see here, this is the pilot burner of the boiler. Okay, so the pilot burner will fire. So to fire the pilot burner, what we required? We required the heat, we required the oxygen, and we required the fuel. So the pilot burner normally supplied by the diesel. So diesel is supplied through this solenoid valve. This is the diesel oil solenoid valve. Through this diesel oil solenoid valve, fuel is supplied inside the pilot burner. So next requirement is oxygen or air. Small amount of air from this FD fan will supply through the small amount of the air inside the pilot burner. So now there is the already diesel oil solenoid valve is open. So pilot burner diesel is going inside the pilot burner, and already air is there. So what we required? Ignition. So ignition or spark inside the pilot burner, there is a ignition transformer. Once the primary voltage is supplied, the output of this small ignition transformer is 11 kV, that is 11,000 volt, and this voltage will transfer through the electrode, and the electrode have small air gap inside here. Electrode have, and this electrode have small air gap. Because of that high voltage, that air gap between 2 point, the spark will generate. Once the transformer will ignite, transformer primary voltage is 220 volt, their output voltage of the transformer is 11 kV volt, and this 11 kV voltage is transferred through the electrode, and the ignition will take place inside the pilot burner. Once the ignition in the pilot burner is fired, because already fuel is there, already air is there, and spark is there. Once the pilot burner is fired, you can see pilot burner is already fired. You can see the flame like this. So here is the small flame scanner, or this is called flame eye relay. This will detect that the pilot burner is fired and give signal to this flame scanner or flame eye relay, flame eye to the flame eye relay. There is the one flame eye relay. The flame scanner gives signal to the flame eye relay. Pilot burner is fired, and through this microcontroller or PLC controller, take the signal from the flame eye relay and open this main solenoid valve. There are two main solenoid valve in the main pilot burner. This solenoid valve will get open, then main HFO will transfer inside the burner. So pilot burner is already fired, so air is already there from the main FD fan, so the fire the boiler. So the main burner is fire. Now main burner is fire means boiler is fire. Okay. So after that there is the main flame eye or flame scanner. This will detect that main burner is fired. So there is no use to fire the ignition pilot burner again. So the pilot burner will cut off. Means the solenoid valve will get off, diesel oil solenoid valve power will get off, so it will cut off the fuel supply and ignition transformer primary voltage will get cut off. Okay, so how this is happen, we are going to discuss by the circuit diagram. Okay, now before that, now first cycle you can see the pre-purging happen by the FD fan. The second cycle is the ignition cycle happen by the pilot burner, because the ignition transformer is there, so pilot burner is fired, and this will detect by the flame scanner, give signal to the flame eye relay, and flame eye relay through the microcontroller or PLC, this wall is open. Once this wall is open, so what is the third cycle? Main burner cycle. So main burner supply the fuel inside the boiler furnace. So main burner is fire, and main burner is fire detect by the flame eye relay, main flame eye relay, and cut off the pilot burner. Once the pilot burner is cut off, and after some time you stop the boiler. Once the main burner is stopped, that is the last cycle, that is called post purge cycle. Still the FD fan will run for the 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes, and the air flap will open 100%. So whatever the flue gases inside the boiler will escape. That is called post purging cycle. So how this happen, we will discuss by using the electrical circuit diagram. So always keep the attention here. It's very important to know that how the fire and sequences happen inside the boiler. Okay, so this is the control supply switch. This is the two pole, one pole is here and other pole is here. Once you switch on this supply, so there are two start of the boiler. One you can start by manual start, and other is the auto start. Auto start is happened by the steam pressure switch. Okay, there is the steam pressure switch. Once the pressure will reach at whatever required, so boiler will get cut off and power is off. Once the cut-in pressure is there, so it will get closed and power will supply. So we will see here, we start the manually. Once we start this one, power is coming to here. Once the power is here, power is also going to here also, you see, because this is NC contact, and power will come up to here. But here we will see here no use. Okay, now this is the NC contact of reset button. This is the reset button. Normally you have to reset the control supply. This is normally closed. So what is the next is very important. This is, all are the safety chain of the boiler. So what is the next? Low fuel pressure. So fuel pressure is not sufficient inside the boiler, so boiler will not get start. So fuel pressure should be as required. So fuel pressure is low than the required, so this contact will open, so power will not transfer to the next. Okay, so fuel pressure is very important. That is the first safety interlock of the boiler. So what is the next safety interlock? The flame failure. Once the pilot burner is fired, and when this pilot burner is fired, the flame eye or flame scanner cannot detect that flame pilot burner is fired or not. It means that either the flame scanner is faulty, or flame eye is faulty, or maybe the relay also faulty, or some amount of dust or some amount of carbon deposited on the flame eye. So you have to check that before firing the main burner. Flame alarm will occur if the flame will not detect. So what is the next safety interlock is very important, my friend. The low water level. If the no water inside the boiler, this is the critical condition. Should be boiler will not start. Why? Because we are heating the water inside the boiler. Okay, we are heating water inside the boiler, so there is no water, tubes will get heated and explosion will take place. So the low water level is there, so it will get open. If the water level is normal, it is closed. So what is the next safety interlock? Burner in place. If your burner is not properly in place, as we discussed earlier, if not properly in place, there is a small limit switch. If the burner is placed in properly to the boiler, this limit switch will make this contact close. Okay, if the burner is not in place, this will open, so power will not transfer. So one more 2 3 interlock we can add here. Most important, exhaust gas temperature we can add here. If exhaust gas is very high, temperature is very high, so boiler will not start. And one more, the steam pressure. Okay, if the steam pressure of boiler is a set cutoff temperature, so boiler will not get fire. That's two more interlock you can add here. So once all the condition, all these safety condition are okay, then only FD fan will start. Now FD fan is started because the here already completed power to here, and this is the common line. Okay, so the FD fan will get start. Once FD fan will start, you see the power is going to this. So what is this? This is the purging cycle timer. You see here, purging cycle delay timer. Up to 120 to 150 second. After the 2 minute pre-purging happens and all the gases inside the boiler will escape, then this timer is activated and close this contact. Okay, once this contact will get close, so you know that the power is already coming from here, coming from here, coming from here to here. Once this is closed, so pre-purging cycle is already finished. So what is the next? Ignition cycle. So the ignition cycle, transformer primary winding have 220 volt power supply, and then output of the transformer is a 11 kV supply will transfer to the electrode inside the pilot burner. Then ignition will take place. Now there is the spark air is already, so that same time ignition transformer is ignite the flame, and same time what is this, the diesel oil solenoid valve for the pilot burner is also get open. Now the ignition transformer ignite the flame, and this is diesel valve is open as we discussed earlier, so there is already air supply, so the pilot burner is fired. Now this condition, pilot burner is already fired. Now who detect that pilot burner is fire? You see here this small flame scanner, pilot burner photo cell, or you can call photo cell. This will detect that pilot burner is already fire. Once this is detect pilot burner is fire, it will get close this contact. Once this contact will get close, so power is up to here. Once this is get close, pilot burner is fired, sensed by the photocell or flame scanner or flame eye, then power transfer to here. So what is this? This is the main fuel oil solenoid valve. Now, before starting the boiler, starting the FD fan, you have to start the fuel oil pump. The fuel oil pump is started, the fuel is recirculating mode, the heating the fuel, filter the fuel, and fuel will transfer here. Is continuously process is recirculation is happen. Once you start the fuel pump before starting the boiler, once the circulation mode fuel already running inside the through the fuel oil pump, then once the pilot burner is fire, this fire flame scanner will detect that pilot burner is fire, and it will close this contact and close the contact of this fuel oil solenoid valve. Means main fuel oil solenoid valve will get activated. Once this main fuel oil solenoid activated, this plunger will move up, and there is already fuel is circulating. Once this plunger is up, so the fuel will directly transfer to the main burner, and already pilot burner is there, already fire, and fuel from the main burner is there, already FD fan is already running, so air is there, fuel is there, and flame is there, so main burner will fire. Once the main burner will fire, the main flame eye as we discussed earlier, main burner photocell, that is the main flame, main burner flame eye relay will sense that main burner is fire, so it will disconnect the pilot burner supply from here. It will disconnect this supply, so the pilot burner ignition transformer will cut off, solenoid valve will shut off, and pilot burner is cut off. So pilot burner will no more firing. So only the main burner is continuously fire and this solenoid valve is continuously activated. That is called main burner cycle. Okay, now after you stop the boiler, now boiler is already firing, and after 1 or 2 days you stop the boiler. That time post purging is important. You have to close the FO wall. This will close once you go to the reverse all these things. Then FD fan we need to run up to 2 minutes. That is called post purging cycle. That is the simple and basic working principle of boiler with the electrical circuit diagram. Okay. Hope I guess everybody understand in very simple manner how the boiler is working, what are the what are the basic component of boiler, boiler firing sequence, and boiler electrical small or basic electrical circuit of boiler. Thank you very much. If you like this video, if you like this video, like to this video and share to your friends so more knowledge will spread. And if you not subscribe to my channel, you can subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.